Alright, it's time to go live. So tonight, hopefully I can finally finish this guy. We only have like the really small kind of bits and pieces that we have to do. The guns, he's got two of them, two guns. These are obviously like meant to be glued on when you're done painting. And then we have the daggers, which I want to pin. I pre-poked some holes just to make sure that the drill bit is not going to slip this time, because it's just a very tiny piece of resin. I don't want the drill bits to slip, because it happened to us a couple of times. Don't want to take any risks. Same thing here, kind of pre-poked a little bit of an imprint so that maybe the drill bit can hold on to it. Same here. And then I went ahead and drilled these holes off stream just the other couple of days ago here as well. Just wanted to take my time and do that. We still have one issue with the shoulder pad. As you can see there, it's still too big for the key, so I still have to kind of shave off a lot of material from the sides and maybe even the bottom, but it's not a really big issue. Just hadn't had the time to kind of do that. So for tonight, all the small pieces, and then I'm probably gonna fill in the seam line there with clay just to make that smooth. The same thing goes here. Want that smoothed out. For the arm, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet, but I'm just gonna kind of look at what other people have done with the arm, if they left it like that or if they glued the arm and then filled up the seam line. It's still like a natural transition. It kind of makes sense for there to be like a separation because he's going from armor to skin. Not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. Then I think I should keep his body like that for painting. It'll make it a lot easier. For this arm, I do not think that I want to do anything with it seam line wise. It's kind of in the shadows. And again, it's the same situation right here. It's going from armor to skin, so it kind of makes sense for there to be like a separation. Other than that, there are not really things I need to fill up. The leg needed to kind of be filled up right here, but other than that, like, you really have to kind of get in there to see it. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that, but for now, I'm gonna drill the small pieces, make sure that they're attached, and then we're gonna work on the mouth. I think that is the best course of action for today, and if there's time, probably gonna work on the other model to kind of get the seam lines filled and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. If it's just a small stream, it'll be a small stream. Well, we'll have to see. If there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do, right? So, and kind of before I can start painting, I need to clean the model first. and then prime it. So it's not something that I can just do right off the bat. So kind of poking a hole in there kind of was a wise decision. The drill just immediately caught on to the resin and just created a very clean hole. I want it further than that. I think this is far enough. It's not a lot of resin, so I don't want to be like poking a hole and coming out on the other side. So if we're gonna go and check out some of Narin's reference photos, just want to make sure that I kind of stick close to what he's doing with his prototype. So yeah, Narin is using this gun on that side. We're kind of gonna stick to that. I'm gonna take a really small amount of that sticky stuff. I'm gonna put it in the hole. Because the hole is a little bit bigger than the pin that we're using. So I want to make sure that the pin is firmly in there. You can push it in like that. So it's firmly in there. Now we're gonna take some glue. Yep, let it pool. Let it sit there for a minute. Take away the excess that we don't need. All right, let that dry. Man, it's so hot right now. It's just insane. It's just actually, it's just too hot to sit in your hobby room with the doors closed, streaming equipment on. Alright, same thing here. Take a really small amount of that sticky stuff and then fill that hole up with the sticky stuff. And right now it's just sticking to the wrong thing. There we go. Might be a little bit too much. Let's work it in. And there we go. You don't want to be pushing out with your finger because you're gonna poke it through your finger, and that's really sharp. So you do not want to be poking that with your finger. Alright, so there we go. And we're gonna use some glue. Let it pull a little bit first, so that can sink into the crevices and the small little areas, and then you suck up the rest that you don't need with just paper towel. You can use a brush, but it'll instantly destroy the brush basically. But suck up the stuff you don't need. There we go. Alright. Let it dry for a little bit. So we got the daggers now. And I pre-poked the hole, so hopefully the drill will not cause us any sort of slippage. Yeah, it's firmly in there. Just want to make sure that I'm going in straight. Careful, because it's just, it's tiny, it's thin resin, so I want to be careful. So this is about as deep as I want to go. So keep that point in mind. That's how deep we want to go. Gonna go slow. We don't want to crack that resin. We're already in fairly deep, so I think this is... Alright, that's one. For this, kind of the same, well, it's not the same length. It's less deep. So, again, make sure that you're straight, lined up. Take your time, slowly. Get rid of that build up. Now here, you see that? That's how thin the resin is. It just wants to push out the resin. So I'm gonna take that back. I don't want any accidents. So that's how thin that piece of resin is. Look at the size of my finger, you can see how small it is. So we want to be real careful because it already wants to push the resin out. So there we go, see? You can see it's getting hot as well. It's super hot. I don't know why it snapped on me. Something snapped. Did you see that? That was weird. Was it the drill bit? I should really watch that back when I'm done streaming, because what the hell happened? Something just snapped. I wonder what that was. Alright, so did it break on me? Is that a breakage? It didn't break. But you see, as soon as you remove the drill, it slowly starts to become straight again. But that's pretty scary, because you crack the peg or the key, kind of messes up your thing right there. But I'm still wondering what kind of snapped. Something snapped. Nothing broke off. That was weird. Well, anyway, it's drilled. We'll have to be careful a little bit. So now we gotta kind of hope that we can line them up. And drill a hole in the waist. So we are gonna put some of that sticky stuff right there. I need a little bit more. Now if this were for like a client, I would do it the exact same way. I would probably pin the entire model. It's so heavy that I probably do not feel comfortable enough with using magnets. Certain magnets, I couldn't tell you the type, but certain magnets just stop working after a while, right? After years of, and then their magnetism or whatever you want to call it kind of stops working. Oh, that is something that we don't want. You can break pins, but you can repair pins, at least the ones I use. Metal pins, obviously, you can't, but hang on, what can I use to stamp it down a little, because it's kind of sticking. Pulling that out, and I don't want to do that. There we go. Got something to stamp it with. And his friends. Dun, dun, dun. Take me back to when. There we go. There we go. The imprint. That's a lot of drilling residue for such a tiny little hole. Back to when. That's the wrong one. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're just gonna put some of that stuff in there. It's just temporary, but it'll give the pin a little bit more like material to hold on to. It's kind of tedious work, but it's a handy little trick when the hole that you're drilling is kind of bigger than the pin. But I don't want my tiniest drill bits to break on me anymore, because they tend to break real fast. So right now there's just a little bit of that sticky stuff in there. And we're gonna do the same thing here. It used to fall out. We're gonna do the same thing here with the dagger. but instead of that being temporary, I'm gonna put some glue on top of that, and then hurry up. Push it in. Now we have a pin. It's glued. It's being held firmly in place by the sticky stuff that we just put in there. Just want to make sure there's enough glue in there to keep it in place. We're gonna let that dry, and we're just gonna do the same to the other dagger. There you go. We're gonna use our cheating tool. Actually a pretty good stamping tool, but I noticed that one of my wrist blades, and I don't know if that like was already like that. As you can see, there is a little bit of curve to it, and that's not the case with this one. So I need to put it in hot water, kind of shape it back again. But I don't know if that just happened, like because the warm weather or something like that, or it was already like that. Nice. There is the imprint. There we go. Let's go. Sticky stuff out. I wonder if that went like it should, because that looks a lot higher than it should. God damn it. I'm just gonna eyeball it. It's really a bummer that I cannot use the music that I'm using on the Twitch stream. It's a bummer that I can't use that in the YouTube videos, because that would set the tone, or that would create like a just a real chill vibe. So I don't know why See, that never fit. How did that go wrong? That would never have been right. The second hole that I kind of eyeballed, that's perfect. That is weird. That is weird. Never mind, we fixed it. Move on. Yeah, put some of that sticky stuff in there. Just like before. I hope I can show you guys. So above that is the wrong hole. I don't know how that went wrong, but whatever. I was like, hey, that hole is way too high. So we're gonna use that one and not the one above it. So if I wanna, I can fill that up, or we're gonna leave it. I think I'm just gonna leave it because I'm gonna glue the daggers into the body anyways, so you're never gonna see it. It's just a super tiny hole, so alright. Some glue in there. What? Why does that not want to go in any further? Doesn't really matter. It's firmly in there. That's what really matters. Now the one real good thing about super glue is that it tends to run in the smallest cracks, smallest seam lines, because it's so runny basically. It just tends to run everywhere, and it's like water. It just wants to go wherever like there's space, so it fills up those holes like immediately, which is good. So okay, let's move on to like the guns. Now those holes are not very deep, so I might want to drill those deeper, just a tiny bit. That a little bit deeper? That's a little bit deeper. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here. Just a tiny little bit of that. Just a tiny little bit, because it's not very deep. So it's a tiny little hole and a tiny little part. So we're just gonna put some material in there. And no matter, this stuff never really dries. It becomes a little bit rougher, like a little bit, but it never really dries up, right? So it's not like clay or anything. So it can stay in there like forever. So now we got a posable gun. Now it's a little bit loose, obviously, but it's a start. There we go. So you stamp it, if you push on it, it stays like that. So awesome, that's one. Now I think this one needs to go deeper as well. Other modelers would probably glue it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that yet, but I think I like the idea of them being posable, so it needs like a material that's gonna keep them in place but won't harden, and I think this stuff is perfect for that. And as long as you don't leave it in the open air for too long, it just keeps its stickiness or malleability or whatever is the correct term for it. But malleability, I have no idea. I count 2 guns, mofo. So they're much more posable now, and they're not permanently attached, so that's exactly what we want. And we can, at a later stage, we can always decide like, okay, this is the perfect like kind of position that we want them in. Let's glue them like that, right? So for now we're just gonna leave it. We still have like the painting process to go through. Alright, so that looks cool. That looks amazing. I'm still kind of contemplating if I should like pin these parts or if I should just glue them. For now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. So the only thing that is left is the wrist blades, and we can't permanently attach those until the painting process is complete, and even then I'm kind of wondering what to do with it. I can't drill it. It's way too thin to even drill that. I think my paperclip is like the same thickness. I don't know. It's just I don't feel comfortable drilling this. There's no way to attach them with a magnet. The only way that we can kind of attach those is by gluing them like that, and even then this is not a lot of material to glue. So I think I'm just gonna fill up those slots so that I can push them in and attach them that way. I kind of wonder what other people have done with those. I'm looking at Narin's reference photos, to fill it up, and they're yeah. I think that's the way to go. Fill them up. Only, like, I know that these are probably the movie accurate wrist blades. I just never liked the open kind of slide here, right? I don't know what to call it, but oh, but nonetheless, should we maybe temporarily hold it in place, see how that works? So if I put fill that up with sticky solution, because and then push it in. Kind of want to know how that kind of looks if I fill it up all the way, because that is kind of the only way to keep the wrist blades in place. Yeah. This is like an excellent way to kind of temporarily kind of see if that's kind of working out. This way I can kind of practice before I use something permanent. So this is kind of the way I need to fill it up. Temporarily sculpting skills right here. I think it's in the middle. Right now. Yeah, you run in all sorts of interesting kind of issues and workarounds, and kind of, okay, how am I gonna fix that? How am I gonna solve that little problem? And then the interesting part is that everybody does it in their own way, kind of, because we all learn different skills at different times, or some things are just working better for other people than it would for me, for example. Like, other people would have used a different material. Oh, that looks kinda awesome for something temporary. Wow. Damn. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. Pour some glue over it and then let it harden and then never touch it again, man. Wow, that looks awesome. And then I wonder if I should do them like super straight or have a little bit of like a curve to it or something like that. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 dun, dun. Here it is. There's the unknown. And if you look at how long a sheet like that will last you, I mean, I've basically used it on 4 or 5 different builds now, and the reusability is also very good. Basically fill up that space. Yeah, that works well for temporary solution. I can't explain. Calling my name. Don't wanna dream no more. Of illusion. So, no matter if it's temporary or not, I'm gonna do my best to make that look as good as possible, because then at least I know, okay, that's the way I want that to look when, even when, you know, when it's permanent. So know exactly what to kind of do, how to do it, and then when I make a photograph, I know exactly, okay, that's what I was going for. So for example, if a situation would arise where I have to leave the project for like 2 months or something like that, and I need to go back in at a later stage, I can pull up reference photos, and in this case a video or a stream, and then okay, that's what I was working on, and that's how I was kind of doing it, so I can just continue where I left off. Yeah, that looks good. And gotta remember, if you're using clay, for example, you can just completely shape even smoother. Right now it's kind of looking rough. Ooh, kind of play around with that. I'm happy I tried it out, because now I can display him in his full glory. Yeah. With guns and wrist blades. Oh man, that looks crazy. Alright. That looks sick. Wrist blades done. Temporarily held in place. Same goes for the guns. Firmly held in place, but temporary. So we can play around with how we want them to look.